love upon us. The vast sky above our heads encompasses your love's embrace, your light of love. As Christ would say, love the other as the mother. O Mary, Mother of God, shine your light of grace upon us. Maria, Mother of all, shine your light of love upon us. Those blessed pangs of motherhood brought him to us. Ooh, midwife of life, Walida, forget me not, Maria. O Mary, Mother of God, shine your light of grace upon us. Maria, Mother of all, shine your light of love upon us. Glory to you, our gracious Mother, who gifts us life like no other. All praise to you, exalted Queen, hold me close, Al-Hali. O Mary, Mother of God, shine your light of grace upon us. Maryam, Mother of all, shine your light of love upon us. O Mary, Mother of God, shine your light of grace upon us. Maryam, Mother of all, shine your light of love upon us. Please shine your light of love upon us.
Peace be upon you. So let's start with some meditation. Just begin by feeling into your body. Take a few deep breaths. Tuning to these three qualities of being still like a mountain, alert like a soldier on duty, and at ease like a sleeping baby. And as we tune into the body, we start to pay attention to the movements caused by the breath. The rise and fall of the belly. Or the breath entering through the nose. We allow the breath to soothe the conceptual mind. We don't grab onto the breath. Trying to squeeze thoughts out. We just hold on to it gently. And thoughts become like a radio in the background. And we allow our mind to rest at ease. It's like we're in the deep place of a still lake. And when we look up to the surface, it's like the rhythm of the breath. It's the movement of the water. So our consciousness is resting in stillness. It's just aware of the rhythm of the breath without any effort at all. We're going to acknowledge that whatever the truth is, it's who we are. That who we are is not a thought. We cannot know ourselves through thinking, only through being. So we're not going to grasp or try to figure it out with our mind. We're going to relax into ourselves. That knowing ourselves is the way to help others. So we're going to relax all sense of doing. So when we're listening to the words, we're going to keep imbibing this quality of allowing it to happen and not trying to figure it out. It's important to keep acknowledging this as the mind keeps coming up. We're just going to recognize, to see, to know, not to figure out. So we gently open our eyes. And just allow the appearances to be there. Don't focus on anything, don't label anything. This is visual consciousness. This is your mind. Like this, open to all the senses. Just for a moment, allow your breath to be your anchor. Whenever you become distracted by grasping onto thoughts, you can use the breath to bring you back to presence, if need be. We're just allowing whatever rises in the 5 sense field to arise. Acknowledging that whatever arises is awareness itself, manifesting as the different sense fields, here and now. We don't have to control anything. It's just life. Consciousness. and the various appearances continuously changing and moving effortlessly. And we intuit that this consciousness, awareness, is always here, witnessing that it itself is unfindable. And within this awareness, there also arises thoughts, images, feelings, just like the other sense consciousnesses, continuously moving and changing. When we notice that there's a continuous change or different moods of a personal sense of self, there isn't this witnessing consciousness. It's like a vague, cloudy image. Let's call it moods. You may have passed through at least 10 during this meditation. A sense of self that feels a bit down because it's tired, and a sense of self that feels it's getting it, then a sense of self that feels shamed that it's missed it, that got distracted, then a sense of self that feels hungry and wish the meditation was over, etc., etc. Notice this. Notice that that isn't the awareness that's continuously witnessing, remaining unchanging. Don't notice it by trying to grab that witness. Notice that something is observing all these changes. So it cannot be the changing phenomena itself. It's so simple, we can't believe it. It's so obvious, we miss it. That is the witnessing consciousness. It's always here. As simple as knowing that you're alive. If you can just remain here, you can ignore everything I'm saying. Or again, what I'm saying is just sound moving through the consciousness. If you're becoming distracted, what is it that you're relating to as yourself? Very gently look. When you identify with a thought or a feeling, is that who you are? Does that define you? Whatever sense of self you have, what are you relating to? Is it a vague feeling? Is that feeling permanent? Or is it just arisen? When a new thought has arisen, is there a new sense of I? Is that who you really are? Keep catching it. What am I relating to as my sense of self? And whatever you're relating to, is there something witnessing that? Making sure we don't get stuck in what feels like the head. We remember that this witnessing consciousness is witnessing the sky if you're looking through a window. All the sounds of the traffic, all the sensations in your body, and all these thoughts and feelings and senses of an I, a small self, are all just moving and happening within it. It's as obvious as just knowing you're alive. Don't try to grab that, relax into it. Noticing that whatever you keep relating to as a self feels like it's locatable, it's ever moving, ever moody, and it's just one of those phenomena moving through the witnessing, unfindable, obvious consciousness. It's already here. Don't try to figure it out. Just see. In this space, whenever we just look at a thought, it disappears by itself. Whenever we look at a mood of what we think of as the personal self, it moves on. That moody personal self is always latching on to thoughts. Just allow them to be. This witnessing self this obviousness, this simplicity, this sense of always being here. It has no shape. It has no height, no weight. It's neither big nor small. It has no color. Nothing can define it. Just the sense it is. It knows, and all things arise within it, pass through it, and disappear in it. That knowing is always here. Again, it's so obvious we can't believe it. It's so simple we miss it. When any sense of definition arises, what are you relating to as the self? And just look at that. See that it's just arisen within the great witnessing, and it will change. So it cannot be the self, the true self. Keep noticing this. Move deeper and deeper into the sense of effortlessness, that this consciousness is timeless. You can't meditate on it. You can't keep up that effort. The effort of witnessing it is witnessed in an effortlessness. If we think we're meditating, when we stop meditating, there's a sense of relaxation, of just being again. Bring that sense in now. That consciousness which is here every moment of your life. You don't generate it. It's not an effort to maintain it. Really bring this sense in. That when we say, okay, stop meditating, where do you think this consciousness goes? It's the very one that's walking you to the toilet, that's observing the toilet. It's the very one observing your sense of self, relaxing that you're no longer meditating. It is constant peace, constant effortlessness. It's beyond effortlessness. It's life. And you are life. Just don't latch on to anything that's appearing in this space as I. There's no beginning to this as a meditation and no end to it. Just let go of grasping. Let go of calculating. Let go of defining. Let go of judging the appearances. recognize that this sense of being isn't suffering. It's the very peace itself we've always been looking for. And is it not you? Or is it something separate from you? Relax, relax, just knowing. Let go of the thinking mind. Just a continual recognition, an intuitive knowing. Awareness, aware that it is. And within this space, the breath is moving. The sounds are happening, and we'll listen to a Dharma talk, all within this space that's unchanging. And take a minute to, within this space, to move the body and stretch. according to the traditions of Jesus Christ, Muhammad, and Buddha, then we're equally putting our energy into understanding that, and equally putting our energy into helping people, loving people, and loving the occurrences. So this union of the two truths, this union of the formless consciousness and the things that are arising within it, and the people that are there within arising, and that these two go together. And if we overemphasize one, we will miss the other. And these two balance each other out. Because, as you may or may not have noticed, we tend to think about things. And when we think about things, we have this understanding in our studies, it's incorrect. So we'll have a false sense of what we're doing if we overthink about things. And we can't avoid that. Otherwise we just sit in silence and get it. So the thought itself is useful, but if we just go into our thoughts about things, we'll never get it. And this thing of helping others is actually a good example. Because the thinking mind is a very cunning mind. And the ego wants to be somebody. The ego likes to feel special. The ego's always hijacking that which is to claim it for itself. As we go deeper into our spiritual life, we realize life is special. And we are special. And the thinking mind likes to hijack that and think that that's its creation, like it's figured out that this aspect of the spiritual path is amazing, and then it feels special about figuring out like emptiness, and it hijacks that which is special and amazing. God's creation. So it's something to notice within ourselves, that we like to feel special about finding something out, rather than just allowing the specialness of what we're finding out to arise, and we're just discovering it. And there's nothing special about us discovering it. One of the clever things the ego does in order to avoid helping people is to say that when we're helping people, we're not doing it, we're doing it for selfish reasons, and you don't really want to help. So then it drops helping people altogether and just thinks about itself. And then it thinks that is being true to the self. You may have noticed in our current culture, if people are like what we traditionally call like helping people in a Christian way, that's condemned as, oh no, they're just doing it because they're Christian, or they're just doing it because they're told to, or to look good, and therefore they shouldn't do it. On the Enneagram, it's the 2-3 energy. There's all different ways of the mind manipulating how to help people. So it then thinks, oh, I'm not going to help. But it's kind of like the anger issue that we talked about. You don't repress anger. You have it there and you look at it and you use it. So our job is to help people. Basically, the Bodhisattva path, when we're entering the Bodhisattva path from the Hinayana path, it's going, the big words are moving from the lower self to the higher self. And the lower self is concerned with food, sex, and will, me, what I'm going to get, and how can I get it, and what sense pleasures I get. This is ego, egotism, the lower self. What can I get from the world? How can I succeed? Me, me, me. To move up to the higher self, the next movement up is into helping others. Thinking about others and getting off the lower self's needs. Me, 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 what I want. Now, when we do that, of course, the motivations for doing it are not going to be pure to begin with. And again, it's a very easy way to understand that this isn't linear. Sometimes when we help someone, we really mean it. Sometimes we help someone just because we got like a bodhisattva vow to help someone and we don't mean it, but we just do it. What we don't do is drop helping people because our motivation isn't pure all the time. What we do is help people and observe when the selfish mind is doesn't want to help. And look at that and go, why don't I want to help? Like the anger, why am I angry? Helping others is the mirror, the practice to bring up the lower self and see how it doesn't want to help. And you still help. Because if you don't help, we live in a mess. And that is our current culture. Well, the culture that we get through the media, which doesn't really involve Chile, does it? Or Venezuela, or Namibia, or Senegal, or Papua New Guinea. Yeah? What's the current news in Papua New Guinea? What's the current news in Senegal? Zimbabwe, Mozambique. What's the current news? It's just wish. This is where you're going to think, yeah, rather than understanding the great global interests of China and Russia, like trying to unite Africa as a nation and them getting like the rich ore and stuff. Don't see any of that. So where was I? No, what was talking about? Anyway, the movement to, that's in the mess. We're in the mess. Egotism. When the egotism is going to reach its peak, I mean, it'll change. Its peak is when parents just allow children to do whatever they want to do without discipline. I've heard this is a new thing. It's the most incredible, like the lowest humanity has ever gone. There's no spiritual self, there's no higher self, it's just materialism and the lower self, to the point where the lower self will not even be questioned in a child. They're going to be the most retarded spiritual beings on the planet. Even when I was listening to Father Richard in 2001, 2002, he's talking about, I don't know what's going to happen with the baby boomers. Like, there's no, like, pressure on the lower self. And now, like, the children, it's just the lower self. Me, what I want, when I get it. Sex, food, material, that's it. It's an incredible place. I mean, but if you know this is like spiritual vision, you can't see it, right? It's formless. But any spiritual person, which is what most people were, because they had a Christian culture, so they were like ingrained in spirituality. When you're in it, you can't really see it, right? Spiritual parents know, with the children, you have to share. If you've got children, you have to share. I don't want to share. The little child doesn't want to share. And now we're educating them not to share because they don't feel like it. It's unbelievable. They're going to grow up in hell. They're going to live in a hell realm. Yeah, complete ignorance, because we understand we're completely interconnected. So it'd just be a series of blind people, just not understanding how they're interconnected to everyone else, not understanding that their actions are going to affect everyone else. I don't know if you've seen, but there was this great video of one of the lefties losing it, this young woman screaming in her car about the election result. And she said at the end of it this incredible, beautiful sentence to sum up this egocentric culture. Why do you hate me so much? As if the election is revolving around her. That's why people are voting. It's about the issues she's thinking about. That's why they vote. They're not voting about because of the geopolitical structures in Africa or what the interconnectedness of, say, Venezuela, Mexico, what's going on, and their relationship to Australia and that economic paradigm in American people understanding if I vote for Trump, that's going to affect all the it's about what she's thinking about. That's why they're voting. No one is thinking about people like that. And everyone thinks it's about me. This is the lower self. This is the pain self. Now, the lower self is beautiful. Because we need survival instincts. We need to look after ourselves. We need to be able to do these things. In the context that we're involved with everyone else. So the first thing you do with the child is you can't always get what you want. It doesn't like it. The ego doesn't like it. Good, that's the point. The ego's wrong. But if you don't know anything else, then it's all just about the ego. So we've always got this dance between what we want and helping others. Until we really get it, that helping others is what makes us happy. And when that lower self comes up like anger, you go, all right, I don't feel like there's a part of me that feels lazy. So I'm not listening to that. I know if I listen to that, I'll end up suffering. And so you're being true to yourself and that you don't want to suffer, so you help. As you go through helping people and you transcend the lower self, the higher self arises. Pure consciousness, in which this is like effortless. Like Ramana Maharishi says, what others? He said, there's not even others appearing to your mind, it's you just appearing. The lower self is, there's me against the world, and what I want, and all these things that it wants and it's separate from. Well, I'm going to do the spiritual path. The spiritual path is a thing that it wants. Yeah, that's the lower self. Then we move into helping others and realize we're involved with everyone else, interconnected, and that interconnectedness is the gateway to emptiness. And emptiness literally means interdependence. There's no fixed individual entities separate from anyone else. Then that leaps us into the higher consciousness, which is Dzogchen, in which we effortlessly helping others because there's us that we see. So as we're helping others, that's the mirror and the best practice to see your lower self. To see where your resistance is. I don't want to help. And then we have like all the different like Enneagram ways of understanding helping. Like the 9 is so overwhelmed. Oh, do I help here or do I help there? Should I help here or help there? And they don't end up doing much. What about, oh, I'm not sure if I should help. It's so overwhelming who to help. Yeah. And like the 1 is like, well, this is the proper way to help, isn't it? So you have like 9 different leaders in the Greenpeace movement. We're going to help, but it's got to be this way. Yeah? It's got to be, this is the right way to help. And then the 2 doesn't know who they are unless they're helping. Yeah, who am I unless I, and it's like a compulsive helping. And the important to note during all this time, people are still helping. Yeah, this is a teaching to look at the deeper motivations behind helping. Helping people is important. That's it. That's what makes society run. If you heard like the teachings on the Enneagram and decided not to help anymore because your motivation isn't pure, you've really missed. And that's what they say about the 2 when they're redeemed and they get rid of, they can see through that compulsiveness in helping, then they will help better than anyone. And the 3 is just concerned about how they'll look when they help. Right? You know, I'll look good helping. Yeah. It's about how you can look good. And the 4 is like, what's the most meaningful way to help? What meaning does it have in help? Why am I help? What meaning does it have? And you know, and the 5's like, you know, so do I help this way first or help that way next? And what's the structure and how do I help? I'll help this way first and then that way second, and figuring it out in the mind the best way to help. And then the 6 is like, oh, I better help. Something will go wrong if I don't help. You're still helping, right? And the 7's like working out the most fun way to help. And the 8's like, I'm only going to help if it's like, it's proof that you're really helping. We'll like dangle you off the edge of a cliff to prove that that's what you really want to help. There's different ways that interfere with the simple thing of helping. And we have to see these motivations that hijack our authentic way of helping. Don't stop helping. And if you know, we can shift things as we're doing this Bodhisattva training. That if we come together, you'd be like, it's good for a time to think, to fight over who's going to help, who's going to do the dishes, who's going to clean up, who's going to set up. But it's like, I'm going to help. To allow that to see the self that, oh, I can't be bothered, and go, that's not real. Like we're talking about last night, when your shame self comes up, go, that's it. Look, you got a question, man?
Yeah. Just what should I do with my mind when I catch myself like I just acted out of a compulsion to help there, and there can be a tendency to beat myself up when I catch it and be like, I don't want to be like that. But what is the best way to be with my mind? As soon as I catch, I'm like, oh, I totally did that out of compulsion. I wasn't conscious when I was doing that.
Well, that's great. And that's the first thing. You can try not to think about it too much. Just recognize the compulsion, but you can bring awareness. So look, well, where did it come from? Like, what was going on that made me feel like that? I mean, you have to see yourself, and it's like, was it, I'd feel awkward if I didn't. Would I, am I recognizing I'm just doing it out of a pattern? Am I afraid that someone won't like me if I don't do it? Will I feel that I'm going to feel less if I don't do it? And you just keep like seeing these things, and then try to honor what you're seeing, and you can experiment with the next time you're about to help, to see if it's there, and see if you can help without doing it. Or this doesn't go for any other type, okay? Only twos. Don't help. Occasionally, don't help. Yeah, it's not. This doesn't apply to any of this. Baron helps a lot. You guys don't. It's like you can. All of you can help more, and in general, the two does too much. But just occasionally, you know. If you feel like there's a pain in the helping, and it's like, I'll say again, like we said last night about anger, until you're realized, your motivations won't be pure. Right? It's okay. Not entirely. There's always some tinge of the ego, right? But sometimes we really are, like, really quite pure. Like when you're helping your child, you're not thinking about helping him, you're just helping him, right? And then there's actually a good sense of shame. So, like, hopefully, this is a good example of how the ego can be really clever. Because if you didn't help Sebastian, I'd fucking slap you. And I would hope you'd have a sense of shame. And I hope that Shivali would shame you if you neglected your child. Yeah? That sense of shame is part of love. You know, if we intellectualize shame and you go, oh, I'm not helping, that's shame, and I shouldn't have shame, and that shows that I'm not pure because I've got shame. You're, again, missing. I hope I'm making sense here. It's like the ego can be very clever about, because our motivations are multidimensional. It hijacks it and then doesn't want to help. There's healthy shame. When we're talking about the shame, we're talking about a sense of guilt, and we beat ourselves up for no reason. So it's similar to the anger. Things we get angry about are a lot of the time irrelevant to the actual situation. And our sense of shame is irrelevant to who we really are. We have an innate sense. Now, this is teachings of Jesus Christ, Muhammad and Buddha, not New Age. There's an innate goodness. There's an innate, we know what's wrong and right. It's built into every teaching across the globe, every culture in the world. People know what's wrong and right, generally, basically the same. And when you go against that, if you kill someone, you should feel shame. And unless you feel shame, this is like the purification. You can't ask for forgiveness or purify. Unless you can see that you've done something wrong and you've breached the universal law that you're not the only person on the planet. and you've infiltrated another person's space and violated their rights as a being on the earth. That's part of the law, isn't it? Whereas shame is like, yeah, like I didn't do the practice really. Do you know what I mean? So but the underlying motivation of that shame of looking after your child, that's love. It's part of love. To know what's wrong and right. So when you're going into this, you're just wanting to refine your helping and seeing when the ego's coming in and corrupting your enjoyment of giving. Like it's no longer thinking about Shivali, it's thinking about you. Of course you're going to think about yourself, but am I making sense to you?
Yeah. Can feel like a kind of defensive giving in a way of, maybe it's fear. It's like kind of, rushing into kind of like, can't help but help.
Okay. I mean, you could experiment. Well, experiment, please. Expose it. I mean, you've got a partner who's on the path. You could just say to her, "Oh, Shivali, right now there's this strong sense of, I'm afraid of what you'll think of me." I don't know. Maybe Shivali will say, "Take a rest." Might not have to do that out loud, but the sense is exposing it is helpful and going, well, this is your question, right? What do I need?
Yeah.
Yeah, because we understand this balance, right? When we go, the other side of it is understanding ourselves. There's a lot of time, if you're a yogi, being with yourself, understanding yourself, looking at consciousness, looking at your needs, who you are. And this is balanced up by helping people. So very much so in the Mahamudra training, it's like you're really going into the space, and then the practices are just go and feed, cook for someone, do simple things without thinking about it. Yeah, just go and help your family, go and watch a movie with them, help. And don't think too much, otherwise you'll start thinking about it. Like you'll overthink. Whereas we're just wanting to live our lives. Yeah, in this spiritual way, which is interconnectedness. And we know the more we can understand ourselves, the more we can interconnect with our partner. In a like authentic way. Is that making sense? Is everyone with me?
Yeah.
Oh, we're dancing. And you may find if you've been sitting for too much, you just sense that you're getting tight in the mind. You're overthinking, and it's maybe time to balance up by going to the gym, having a laugh. Go dancing, see your mates, go for walks on the hills, and and then I say that's the time when you maybe have a minimum meditation practice. And then when you've been maybe working too much, we go on retreat. And it's utter bliss just to be with yourself for like 3 weeks. I mean, it's utter bliss. And if you get caught too much up in that me and what I'm realizing, it's going to help people because you're forgetting that interconnectedness. So what we want to say, the point is we use both together. The interconnectedness, the helping, and being in the self. They're together. It's one thing. They're very important. I definitely would like to encourage you to help. When we're doing things, we're just trying to see through the motivations of why we're doing it, expose them, bring light. So these are the the root downfall. These are the more like serious. The other ones are kind of lighter, and these are really affecting our heart, about helping people. Yeah. And I'd say, if you're with me, the main thing that we're after, really, if we would pick, hopefully, is love. You know, if Jesus came to you in your dream and says, I'm going to give you consciousness, awareness, or love, we go for love. Praising ourselves and scorning others. We incur a root downfall if we praise ourselves with the motivation of deceiving others so that we might receive gifts or enhance our reputation. Sounds like the President of the United States. We also incur a root downfall if we criticize others with the wish to hurt them. In both cases, the downfall is complete only if someone hears and understands our words. So you thank God you're not famous. You think of your journey on the spiritual path, and imagine you got famous 10 years ago. Think of all the things that you just know is utter garbage about what you used to think and feel, and imagine that was out there for millions to see. Wow. God just protecting you. Yes. You just imagine it's all there. What your family's seen it, everyone's seen it, all these things that you've said and done, you just now you're like, you don't want anything to do with. So it's important to remember that 4 binding factors must be present to break the vow. Not regarding the action as wrong. Not wishing to abstain from the action in the future. Rejoicing in the action. Having no sense of shame or consideration for others. So we could do this action, we could lose it. And then later on go, oh no, that was awful. We don't actually break the vow. It's like you say something horrible to someone, you don't care. You don't care that you hurt them. I'm glad I hurt them. They were terrible to me. And you let them know, and they feel pain, and you're glad about it. We can understand that this isn't helpful to developing a mind of universal love and compassion, right? It's like, but we lose it, right? We do lose it. So when we're doing this training, we're just like, oh my goodness, I lost it. And the training is hopefully helping us being humble. Like, I lost it, that's okay. And we ask God for forgiveness or whatever it is, and we come back. Yeah, we're not perfect. It's not the point, right? 2, not giving wealth or dharma. If someone asks us to give material help, such as financial assistance, or spiritual help, such as teachings or dharma books, and we are in a position to oblige, but out of miserliness refuse, we incur a root downfall. We can see this is a training. Yeah. We don't break our vow if we're having an internal struggle about wanting to give. It's basically these 4 factors. You just don't want to. I don't. It's mine. I'm not giving you anything. Then you break it. Yeah. No sense that I'm doing something. It's my stuff. I don't have to give it away. If we're a Bodhisattva, we've got a conflict. It's like, I want it, but I want to give. But I like that. And it's like a conflict. And we understand if we're like Jesus Christ, and one of his disciples says, Jesus, can I have your prayer rug? It's mine. He wouldn't really be the Messiah or no object of refuge, would he? It's like, but it's not in my robes. It's like, here, have them. It's like, thank you for giving me the chance to give. This is the Bodhisattva. Thank you for giving me the chance to give. Try and work with that. There was this beautiful thing in the Guide to the Middle Way, Chandrakirti. When the Bodhisattva hears the word give, he experiences more bliss than a neo-Advaita just realizing awareness. Just hear someone says, give. They're like, the bliss that they can help. It's like, I can love someone. I can help them. This is the meaning of life, right? Helping. Being with people, loving them, sharing. Or is it just keeping to yourself and not letting anyone in and just having your own stuff? Is that the meaning of life? I don't know. It's everyone's got all that stuff, don't they? Go out here in Dundee, Youngchen, go out to Dundee. Is everyone not in their own home with their stuff, with their TVs and stuff? Is it a city of bliss? Is it? I've been in heaven. We have heaven when we're here on retreat. It's like being in heaven. It's not much different than when I went to the Buddhist festivals. It is different, and there's more mass. When there's 3,000 people doing it, it's something. And they say, I remember being at the festival and I left my bag out at night on the wall in the front where everyone is. Came back the next day, it was still there, untouched. That's heaven. They're not all perfect. They're just practicing. They're practicing. And it's like, oh, there's someone's bag. And it's like, oh, I'm glad I can leave it for them. And it's joyful. Helping people is joyful. It's like, but you have to train. We have to overcome the lower self. Our entire culture that we're talking about is training you to worship the lower self. The merchants, the advertisers. Now, Sylvia and I came together. What would it be like if you just did what you two wanted individually? I just want to do what I want to do. And Hakeem's, I just want to do what I want to do. Sylvia's, I just want to do what I want to do. I just want to eat when I want to eat. I just want to eat when I... It's just horrible. You can try it. It's not really different. You go into space and everyone's out trying to out-help each other. It's nice to go to that extreme thing and bring it a bit more. It's nice. It's nice when you, like if you go like for Zikr and someone's turned up earlier or just come into the house, you know, Javali's been, Sebastian's been floating in water or something with baby crew. Baron's been at work and you come in and one of you's cooked everything for Zikr. Would that make you feel like shit? Oh, that's crap. I don't want to live like that. There's a part of you going, oh, I can't be bothered going. Little voice, no, I just want to kind of watch Netflix. Does that really make you happy? Or do you actually have to like make some effort? It's like getting in the car and then you make the food, it makes some effort. But the satisfaction of helping is spiritual. It's not an immediate sense pleasure satisfaction. It's a spiritual feeling of like a certain contentment, isn't it? That you get with your kids. Don't you, Yang Chen? It's just like, it's not like a sensory satisfaction with kids. It's a deep inner contentment of helping. Watching their little faces. Now there are, unfortunately in our society, because of the conditioning, there are parents who don't bother even helping, just stay in bed. Or you kids can sort your food out yourself. It's not a happy state. This is our spiritual journey, isn't it? For every being that's ever walked the earth. The lower self and the higher self. And recognizing where we're at. and the joy of the Bodhisattva path, of being a lover. Yeah, we don't go insane. That's what the Enneagram's for. Recognizing when we go insane about helping. So we have to give wealth. No. Wealth can just be a smile, right? Now they said about the Holy Prophet, and this is what like Sheikh Hamza said, this is one of the sunnah people don't do, which if they did do, it would change everything, is that he smiled all the time. That everyone he meet would smile. This is the same as a teacher. Always keep a smiling face and a loving mind. And speak truthfully without malice. That alone, as a precept, that alone, if you do that, will change your life. Always keep a smiling face and a loving mind, and speak truthfully without malice. Just smile, go and smile at people. Yeah. If you're not sure how to do it, hang out with Baron. He's an exemplar at going out with people and just smiling, meeting people, chatting to them, getting to know them, and lighting their day up. Yeah. It's like my mum used to absolutely love Baron. I mean, it's like, it's got, and light people's day up, and she could see it, and she liked people like that. So simple. That's the spiritual path. Now, in terms of what we're doing in class, with Baron, like, we're refining the motivation behind it, so you can go even deeper into that until it's perfect. It transcends any lower self contamination of something that's already beautiful. Yeah. Now, if you're jealous, as I say, you'll go, oh, he's not really helping, he's a 2, he's got other motivations. That's the cunning mind. And that's breaking the Bodhisattva vows. Because that's criticizing someone with a wish to put them down to raise yourself up. Well, you see how it works, right? Whereas if you just sit there and praise, go, oh, Baron, you're amazing, you're a great example, thank you for showing me, oh, I want to be more like that. I mean, I'm not going to be like Baron, but it's like, what a great thing. It's inspire me to smile at least 3 times during the day, rather than once a year. Yeah, you're not going to be like smiling all the time if it's not your nature. That's giving wealth. That's giving Dharma. Giving Dharma is like giving you truth. It's not sitting down with someone and saying, have you heard the good news? That's like not giving Dharma. It's like someone asks for something and you give knowledge. You don't, but if I can't be bothered. Or like, no, I want to keep my knowledge secret. Yeah. I don't want to share. If you know it, then maybe you'll have something of mine, like 5s and 6s, and hoarding their knowledge. And they'll just portion it out in whenever they feel like it, so that you feel that they're so knowledgeable and so helpful to you as they portion out their knowledge to you. Ever done that before? Yeah. I'll help you when it's the right time for me. And then you'll see how great I am in my knowledge and how helpful I am to you. Yeah. But I won't really let you know, and I'll keep some of it secret. So I'll share some of my knowledge, so you'll always be hooked onto me. And there'll be some other special knowledge you can get. Yeah, lots of spiritual teachers do things like that. Now here's a big one. Drum roll. It's really hard. Okay, so don't worry. Not accepting others' apologies. If someone who has physically or verbally harmed us later apologizes, and we refuse to accept his or her apology, preferring to harbour a grudge, we incur a root downfall. Our entire culture is based on not doing that. No. Right? Now you sue them and punish them. I'll read it again. If someone who has physically harmed us, verbally, probably worse, later apologizes and we refuse to accept his or her apology, preferring to harbor a grudge, we incur a root downfall. Anyone ever done that before? No. No, too. Yep. Yep. No. Yes, I know who I'm dealing with. It's not easy, is it? Does it help your heart merge into love? No, it's painful, isn't it? And it feels really justified when we feel like we're giving our game away, and if we don't hurt them or have harmful thoughts or figure out how they're wrong, that doesn't change, of course. Feeling hurt, feeling grieved, feeling pain, and recognizing they've done something wrong. They're apologizing because they recognize they've done something wrong. Now, when someone recognizes they've done something wrong to you, and you don't accept it, how can they move on? I mean, you're bound together in this. I mean, one of the ways to do it is to recognize that we've done that to other people, haven't we? Anyone done that to other people? You've hurt someone. You said something that was horrible. Then you recognized, oh no, and you go to apologize and they don't accept it. What's that like? You can feel them deliberately cutting themselves off. And it just creates this scar, energetic scar, doesn't it? I mean, trust might be broken, but you can mend it. This is a really big one. You can see why this is like a root downfall, right? Now, again, we break it if we just think, no, I'm absolutely right in holding a grudge. We can recognize that there's part of us that is in pain and is holding a grudge, and there's a part of us that recognizes, I don't want to be like that, but no, I can't let go of it. You know, that's working with it, right? That's not breaking the downfall, that's working with it. It's like, it's too hard for me to let go at the moment. But part of us wants to let go of it, but we're incapable of letting go of it. And we're working with it. You know, if someone really, physical harm can take on many horrendous forms, right? So we need like beautiful examples of forgiveness, and it's good to read about these things, and that's why I come to classes, study it. Like Nelson Mandela is a beautiful example. I mean, if you held on a grudge against the people in power, the conflict would be horrendous. But it's just this great act of forgiveness. You're forgiven. You recognize that the only way for the country to heal is if we move on. I mean, hopefully everyone here recognizes that that's where healing is at, right? That forgiveness. I think that's the important thing, is that we recognize that's where we want to be, and that's the truth. And then it's the journey towards it. And we're breaking our vows as if we just don't care. Yeah. Because I re-emphasize, no one is saying that you don't feel pain, hurt, recognize that someone's done something wrong to you. And you can tell them off. Right? It's only when they've recognized they've wronged you as well, and they come to you in an open heart, and you turn it away. It's not good. And then you can even go like, I acknowledge your apology and I accept it, that you're apologizing to me, but it's going to take time for me to digest that. But I'm not dismissing it, I'm accepting it to the best of my ability, but I can't. Doesn't mean I'm going to behave towards you in the same way I did before, does it? Maybe if we fully forgive them, because our heart's really evolved, we can do that. I hope I'm making sense of it. There's these different levels of what it means to forgive and move into it, and it's not clear cut, right? But so don't think you're breaking your vows or doing something wrong because you can't immediately take on board his distant sense of shoving someone away who's coming to you. I hope that makes sense. So it's 103. I think, does anybody have any questions though? Maybe. If we do, or anything they'd like to share about what we talked about? Okay.
Just a kind of feeling around maybe the first time or moving into the first times where it's actually a really amazing thing to be born into a background of a Christian kind of culture and society. There's a lot of kind of shoving that away in the past and being forced to go to church and things in the past. But for that to already be in the mind is actually really beautiful in a sense. And then it's just this relationship of the kind of morality around that and the relationship. It's just a maneuvering with it, really. But also the freedom to explore. It's we're really lucky. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like the church is like a diamond covered in shite. Basically, isn't it? You have this unbelievable Buddha in Jesus, and then this utter moronic, dead religion around it, forcing children to go to church. Oh. Okay, it's like so ignorant. You can't force some spirituality on me. You can't. But so, we know the things that go wrong in Christianity. And at the same time, you're hearing these teachings of this mystic, that Jesus was a wild man. We're watching The Chosen, right? He's a wild man. His disciples are scared of him. They're like, what's he going to do now? And it's like, don't go there. Oh, don't go, don't do that. They're going to attack us. He doesn't give a shit. And it's like, I'm going to stir up these morons, isn't it? He's dealing with the pile of shite. People creating the careers around it, the egos and power and manipulation. How can we manipulate society? And he's just a radical. And his teachings are in it, and they're just amazing. It's contaminated by people trying to control. It's like the rabbis just trying to control what he's saying. And then because if you go to church and listen, and then you read it, Jesus, it's like, what? What? That's my experience. I don't know what your experience. I'm like, what am I reading? It's got nothing to do with what I've ever heard from the church people. Nothing. That's my experience. But as you say, he's a powerful Buddha, Jesus. So his vibration is still, even though there's this decaying satanic horde like on top of his teachings, it's still effective, still like very powerful when you actually connect with him, like an actual like lineage of realized beings, and you get the blessings of what Christ's saying. When you hear it from a realized lineage, isn't it? It's just like, wow, it's exciting. It's like, wow. Now, Jesus was a two. There's no messing. A perfect balance of like when he breaks his boundaries, he's out with a whip. I mean, I'm still hoping they'll put that in the show, right? So yeah, thanks for sharing. But Jesus is my favorite Buddha. Anyone else? You're pumped up to help? So if we're following, hopefully we're following the teachings as we're doing it, is to try not make it an intellectual proposition, but an intuitive underlying feeling that whatever you're doing in your life, you're helping. It's just, I think it's in the Sufi path, I think it's with Muhammad, this sense that when you leave the earth, you've made it a more beautiful place than when you arrived. So you're helping the earth by looking at the trees and admiring their beauty. That's giving Dharma. Yeah. Like, try to understand this sense of what it means to be a helper, is that you're just here to participate with love. And it's like, how can I help? Means the best thing for me to do is just sit alone in a corner at this party. Now, if you can have the courage to do that, if your heart's telling you, just sit here, I almost guarantee that someone will come up to you later on or during the party and go, you totally changed me. I've never seen anyone just sit in there quiet at a party. I've always wanted to do that. Right? We're not intellectually trying to help people according to systems and structures. We're trying to listen to our heart, and we have this feeling of we love everyone. And by me being myself, it will help. But I can't express it properly, just an underlying feeling that I'm a participator and a lover and a helper. All the time. How can I help? It's to sit quietly with your partner and watch a movie. Yeah, you with me? Whenever there's a sense of it's a chore, watch that. It's usually an intellectualization from this culture we're talking about, Namka, of the excrement on top of Christ, of intellectualizing what he's talking about. Yeah, this combination of being true to yourself and what it means to help. This is the art of life, the art of the Bodhisattva. And not to compare and contrast. You uniquely as an individual. How am I helping? And say the 9 will get split between, oh, should I help by sitting in? Should I help by helping? Well, I'm not, And the 6, it's like, oh, am I helping right? Oh, should I just sit here now? Oh no, but what if I sit here? Oh, should I help? Oh, Am I helping? Is that right? And then it's like, probably like an hour later, the bus is gone. Oh no, I shouldn't have thought like that. If I hadn't have thought like that, then and it's just like, and then there's another train of thought of fears. This is the Enneagrams noticing our type, right? Yes. Anyone else got anything? It's nice when we share. Hopefully, enjoyed last night. It's great when people share their feelings. We're all lined up for our Saturday. So, the last thought that comes to our mind is like, how can I help? I'm going to go out and look at the sky. And if we're doing the practices with like the Allahs, then part of offerings, everything we see is an offering to God. That's this giving. This is how I'm helping. Because you're participating in the universe. And if you're looking at the sky with love, that's true prayer. Because you're loving His creation. That's true prayer. Not intellectualizing. The intellectualization helps us to get to that space. So the meditation we did is prayer meditation of, I'm open to the universe. And I want you to just have that, you can consciously just put it on the edge. This is me helping. Me being open and available and creative and loving. And yeah, probably I'd like you to hoover your parents' house more. Do the dishes more for your partner. Push it a little bit. Get off your arse a little bit more than you do. If you've been a bit lazy, you can sense that. You don't have to punish yourself. Please notice that this is the most joyful thing in the world. This is the path of love. It's not the path of imposition. Anyone notice that if they've been a bit lazier than they could be? Yeah? Okay, yeah. Shut up, Bear. You sit down in the corner. Just sit down.
Seems like hard work.
Yeah, so the thing that helps your wife the most, just come home early from work and just sit there and be there. Yeah. Put the computer away. Stop thinking about Tiny Temple. Yeah, isn't it? That'll be helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah! The Sheikh Sebastian ends the class again with truth. A fart and a gurgle.
Boy.
There we go. There we go. You've been told. Directly. Okay, so thank you all so much for participating, helping. And remember, so we're dedicating it to our own awakening, to loving our own heart, opening our own heart, being true to ourselves, recognizing that's the best way to help people, being gentle with ourselves, recognizing that's the best way to help people. Just fall in love with life. That's basically in a nutshell. Fall in love with yourself, fall in love with your gifts, and just try to let go of anything that gets in the way of your gifts. Any fears, any worries, and just relax into it. And that the actual energy of life is just helping you. And so may that be so. And may it be in the name of God, the compassionate, the merciful, the beautiful one, the giver, the protector, the one that subsists all things. may we be one with that. Amen. Have a beautiful day. Thank you so much. God bless.